Okay, let's go live and see how the things will go. And we can click on go live now. All right, so, all right, it looks like we are live. And I'm unmuted so people can hear me. I think a lot of people will start joining us. Okay, awesome. People are start joining us. So we'll be ready shortly to start discussing about our fourth event. Okay. All right. So if you guys you can hear me, just make emoji so I can be sure everybody can hear us and we don't have technical difficulties. Okay, I see it. Okay, awesome. So you guys you can hear us. Welcome to the event. This is the fourth event for the title, call it From iSketch to AI Catch, and the 3D revolution, which I really like to talk about today. So I really thank you to everybody who joined us. With me, I have several speakers. So I will introduce myself first. I will ask the speakers to introduce themselves. A quick technical information. We can ask people to come to the stage. If you like to come to the stage, there is a raise hand on the bottom of the chat over there. You just need to click on that and we'll bring you to stage. And if you are coming to stage, usually you come unmuted. And also on the bottom right, there is a microphone symbol. You need to unmute from there. So that being said, let's start our event. So my name is Sandu Baciu. I'm a civil engineer as trade. I'm really passionate about 3D innovation stuff, which are usually close to the latest in technologies. And I really like to create things, think about that. And my background is not only engineering, I do have architectural background and also industrial design. And, you know, a long time ago, I was sketching a lot by hand. I'm still sketching today a little bit, but with tools like Midjourney and artificial intelligence, other tools, I kind of try to see how that goes. So that will be my short experience. So I will ask our speakers also to introduce yourself, and we'll start with the ladies. So Margarita, if you want to introduce yourself first, and after that Diana, and Sachin and Darian.
Hi Sindhu. Hi everyone. Hope everyone is okay. So I'm Margarida Barreto. I'm partner and creative director. My basis is graphic design, also web design, and since August last year, I'm an AI explorer and NFT creator.
Thank you. Diana?
Hi everyone, my name is Diana and I'm a co-founder of AI Lemon Academy, focusing on helping creative professionals adapt in AI age. We are providing courses and trainings, and I'm so passionate about Midjourney right now. I hope that we will discuss today a lot about Midjourney and different AI tools for visuals.
Yes, we'll do for sure. Okay, thank you, Diana. Yes?
Hey, Sandra, thank you for inviting me, and hello, everyone. Myself and Diana, we are together building AI Lemon Academy. I think she described it very, very well. So it's to help creative professionals adopt to the AI age and save a lot of unnecessary design hours, right? It is possible right now. So that's what I'm working towards. Trainings is one part, but the other one is to actually build the tools powered with AI. So for example, if you want to create specific prompts, that is something that I'm working on to be easily able to create these prompts, which we can use with the AI tools. That's the other part. And my background is more on both the sides. Like I have a master's in engineering, and I always loved creating art and design. I also studied UX UI design. So it's a bit of both, like the best of both worlds. So I love both the technology and the creative side, and that's where both my passion lies, and that's why I'm building at the intersection of creativity and AI. So yeah, happy to be here and talk a ton about AI tools.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. We'll talk shortly. Thank you very much. And Darian? Darian, I think your mic is now working. We cannot hear it. Oh, here you go.
Can you hear me? Hi, Sandy. Thank you for having me. It's great to be on with such a panel. My name is Darian. I am at present a Midjourney trainer with Ionda, an innovation agency based out of Germany, and I'm also a bit of an all-rounder. So I do freelance concept art, most recently for an advertising agency for a beer brand, and I'm creating across quite a few different projects, mostly narrative and world building, using AI tools in general, but my specialism is in teaching others to get really great results very quickly out of Midjourney and using it myself.
Yes. Awesome. So I'll do a quick introduction. Usually the event for people which didn't join with us before, it's kind of structured in three parts. The first part we talk about the innovation with AI. The second part usually is news and kind of what is the new trends. Mostly before we were focused on Midjourney, but there are so many other tools, and I will touch on that as well. And toward the third part, we kind of want to touch on the 3D revolution, which I'm calling it, because it's the next big thing which it's on the horizon. Right now it's all about text to image. And of course, the leading parties with Midjourney, we could see they lead the pack of the whole softwares which are doing that, because the results are awesome. But in the same time, I think other softwares are catching up, and in the same time, they start exploring branches of those ways of using AI. So that being said, this week I repost kind of what you can do with Midjourney. Midjourney is really strong. You can pretty much create any image you want. But on my side, especially on the industrial design kind of, I was trying to see if I will do a sketch. Basically, it's a doodle on a post-it. It's something very simple. Can that be kept as a shape, and can I have kind of a photographic render out of it? And the results are relatively okay. The trick is you do your sketch, you take that sketch, either you make a photo or you can upload it directly on Midjourney bot or somewhere where you can have a web address. And with that web address, you use it in your Midjourney prompt. So basically you do the /image, you paste that link, and after that you write your prompt. But the prompt should be as much as descriptive to what you intend to have in the final. So things like, photographic, realistic, 32K, upscale, that will be good to have it in your prompt, because that is going to give you a good rendering. And after you have the first cycle, you use an image from that cycle which is closer to what you want, and again you take the web address and you upcycle again, having this new reference. And in this way you do 2, 3, 4 cycles, and actually the images will become extremely realistic. But here is the catch. Each time when you do this, each cycle which you do, because Midjourney is a random kind of result, you're not really maintaining the initial idea. So this is what I say, how I can keep that closer to what I want. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it goes really wild. And I do have comments from different people. They say, well, why you are not using stability diffusion? I think that's probably a good idea, because with that you can have different variations. and there are also other software which we can use, and that's the point of the discussion. So in order to help people to understand how many other software there are, in the comments I posted kind of the news which I saw, and also I posted those which are related to 3D because I want to touch on that as well. But it's good to explore other stuff too. I think Midjourney, it's a really good tool. For example, in the picture which you see it at the live event, it's actually a panorama which I did it. And even panoramas are actually okay. You can go around. I use that in with a previewer, basically a panorama previewer, and the image is quite okay. So yeah, of course, at the end to match the stitches, you can tweak it with Photoshop a little bit. But if you need to do an environment for a game or something like that, I do see the application. That actually goes very well. So that is the short experience which I have, but I'd like also the speakers to share their experience with how they can do innovation things, and also people which are listening, feel free to raise the hands up and let us know your experience and how these things can be used in an innovative way. So I guess we'll start with the ladies. Margarita.
Well, I think since the beginning, my workflow is on with Midjourney. I used a little bit of Stable Diffusion, but the outcomes aren't what I expect or like for my work. And I feel like working with Midjourney on a daily basis for me or for my clients is like having a coworker with which I can do pretty cool brainstorms. I do a lot of branding, and I'm used to do it by hand and of course on computer software. And now I tend to use a lot of prompts in Midjourney just to see other ideas and other approaches that I can get to the same solution. And it's like having a partner with me, and kind of we discuss things, and it's been great. And I have to say that I have been able to do one of two brandings with Midjourney. The thing I see is that I can use other tools that I'm used to do because of my profession to enhance the outputs and the explorations we have from Midjourney. Even this week, last week and this week, I was doing a huge presentation for a client, for a brand he has. The main theme of that brand was it's an application with augmented reality, so we needed to have a lot of videos and like proof of work, but we didn't have real things to show because this is just the beginning. And here I saw that all this journey that I've been doing since last August has given me the tools to deliver and to find other ways of finishing the jobs, because I've been able to discover a lot of tools, software, web app applications that are providing us very easily and affordable ways to do things. You don't need to depend only on Adobe, for example, and you have a lot of other software that you can rely on to get work done, and with great quality. One of the things I saw this week, we were talking, was about Photoshop the generative field. I haven't been able to try it. I'm installing it as we are speaking, just to play a little bit in the end of this session. And I would love to know if anyone here has tried it, and what are your ideas on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. You just highlighted. That means Midjourney is not the only one, and like any other tools, in any other jobs, you use at least 3, 4, 5 tools, and you complement each other. Yeah, each one has got its strength, and you complete that. Whatever. In this case, you make an image in Midjourney, and you take the Photoshop and you fix the hands, for example. I see somebody posted something like that. So, and even Brian, I think he posted a bunch of stuff where he took something from Midjourney and he enhanced it using Photoshop. Of course, you can use Photoshop as regular Photoshop, but you can use the AI part as well. And at the end, it's the product which you want to have it as a final. And to me, it's the same thing which you do with something else. So you do a PowerPoint, okay, you do an image somewhere, you paste it over there, and in Word you write something, you paste it in PowerPoint, and after that you have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm simplistically saying. But yeah, definitely I see that trend of using different AI tools to get the product, the final product which you needed for the clients, for example. Yeah, that's awesome, feedback.
And it was like I was able to do things that are completely out of my range, because I had to create an avatar, because they have to have like a dog that talks and presents the brand. So then I needed a voice, and all of this 1 year ago wasn't possible for me. And I made it all in 1 week. I did the character. I was able to do the script. I inserted a voice. And all using a lot of tools. Yeah, it's right, but a lot of tools with AI base. And the final was like a small video, 2-minute video, with a lot of mini clips, but all integrated, and almost 80% was made through AI, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, just to think, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years ago, that probably took like a week or even more, if you want to have it more complex or to that level. That's really interesting.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Margarita. Diana, from your experience, how we found innovative ways of using AI, and I know you have a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell that the same way like Margarita describes how she feels like AI became an assistant to her, that it's someone else with whom she can explore new concepts and brainstorm. We have every week a lot of sessions mentoring with our students, and they are sharing that from their perspective, it's not yet their assistant, but they are very willing and flexible to embrace change, as they understand that if they will master AI skills, they will be more valuable at their workplace. So they want to open for technological advancements and this innovation. They don't feel that AI is something very easy, but they do realize that adapting to this technological changes, using all of this AI tools in their workflow, it helps them utilize their time effectively. And this is very important, that on all of this discussions where we embrace AI, of course, it's not only bringing benefits, it also has a lot of topics which are controversial. But what is the most important, that it is utilizing time. And regarding your question, Sandu, myself, I have found Midjourney as my favorite tool, and it's helping me save of time which I would normally spend using another design tools. That's first. And second of all, I love brainstorming. And for me, having a tool which can very fast visualize my idea is very important. It opens new opportunities for me. So personally, I have no background like bachelor's in arts or something like this. But now with AI tools, I can create stunning visuals, and I feel very confident that I can present my concept, and that my students for their job they will go and they can present their idea, and it will not be killed because they cannot sketch or because they were not studying art. And I think it's very powerful and opening new even workflow opportunities for them. um, I'm using Midjourney daily, and I'm creating different kind of visuals. Um, right now, I'm very passionate about creating food photography, and it's just amazing how by prompting you can get results which you are imagining, but you don't have a camera, you don't have a place for photo shoot, you don't have time for doing all of that. And right now it's just super powerful. And if there is someone who is still not sure if they should try generating images with Midjourney, I really highly recommend to at least to try.
Yes, definitely good feedback. John Moore also join us. We'll ask John to have his feedback right after we talk with Sachin and Darian. Sachin, from your experience, what's the innovative part of using AI? And I saw you post about DragGAN, which is another software. We can talk about that with transitioning on the other news as well. What other software? Yeah.
I think, I mean, as creative professionals, it you you are given like actual use cases of how you have been using this for your creative workflows, right? I mean, these are actual use cases where you have used it for your projects or your clients, and you've actually reduced your time. And I mean, I love Midjourney, right? I use it every day. I cannot imagine without uh, prompting into it first. But I did realize that there are a couple of times Midjourney is is uh, is probably is probably not the right tool to go. And I can describe a couple of examples where some other very simple tools, AI tools, gave me a much better results. And I think one of that is, if you have a sketch, right? One of like you just mentioned, Sandhu, in the beginning, a sketch to a final illustration. Um, Definitely, you can take a photo of the sketch, and I think I saw your examples as well, where you drew the altar in vehicles. You had some rough sketches of it, and you used you gave that as an image reference in Midjourney, and then you gave your prompts. Like as an art director or creative professional, you know these keywords, you know how to describe these style very well, and you get like, I saw the outputs, they were like super wonderful. um, I, if it was me, I mean, I definitely tried Midjourney for some of my sketches. I love sketching. All these illustrations, the outlines that I made. There was one particular sketch where there was a castle floating on top of a rock, and the whole thing was floating in space. I tried Midjourney, and it gave me wonderful results. Right, it always gives great results if you give the right prompts. The illustration looked amazing. There were wonderful colors. Um, but what you also described as one of the issue is you cannot control the output. It's only as good as the keywords and the prompts that you give it. And sometimes when things don't work out, you will have to keep re-rolling it so many times that finally probably you will take it then to Photoshop, like Margarita defined, and you take it to Photoshop. You're very good with these tools, and you can manipulate the image over there. One thing I found very useful is to some of the other AI models out there. For example, the Stable Diffusion Control Net, which actually takes your sketches. It is designed to use the borders of your sketches as the field, so it will as a constraint. So it will not go out of those borders that you are defined. And there are a couple of free tools that you can give it a try to just get the first renders out. And then that is something that you can use into Midjourney to further define with your prompts. I think that is one creative workflow. Actually helped me very much in one of the projects where one of the learners, he had a map that he had sketched out for his storybook, and he wanted that map to be in the form of a J.R.R. Tolkien, like Lord of the Rings map style. Now, if I give this same thing as an input, as an image reference in Midjourney, and I give it a prompt, the whole map is going to change. The borders are going to change, right? It's not, you cannot control that. But if you use the ControlNet Stable Diffusion model, and there are Hugging Face repositories of these AI ML models, you can just give it as a reference image, type in your prompt, and you can type in the style of J.R.R. Tolkien or Lord of the Rings, and it will give you wonderful output, which you can then take and use in Photoshop. So when you have a sketch or when you have borders, I think there are a couple of workflows that you can follow, and I think there are similar parallels in other use cases, like when you want to do a 3D, for example, and things like that. But otherwise, Midjourney is an amazing tool to use like a design assistant. I think you all talked about it. There is no more creative blocks anymore when you have Midjourney. You can just type in things, what you have in your imagination, and you get amazing outputs.
Yes, definitely. Darian, from your experience?
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, I agree with so much that's been said. To Sachin, I would actually just put the question out, because I've often wondered about this, whether it's hypothetically possible to get anything you want out of Midjourney with the right prompts, but are we just not quite sure what it is? And I don't have the answer to that question, but it is just something I do wonder about. To touch on your question, Sandy, regarding what is the most innovative thing about AI, obviously hugely broad question. I might come at it from a slightly different angle, which is slightly touching on the kind of intersectionality that Margarita and Diana touched on in terms of using multiple tools and the freedoms that are available to us now in terms of using those multiple tools. But also to quote something that I read from a guy, Theo Priestley, which was kind of interesting to me, which is that, and it touched it to bring it back to my answer. I think the most innovative thing about it is really the change in thinking that is required, so that it helps to create in people. But his quote was that our schools aren't teaching people to be polymaths, and actually a big demand, not just Midjourney, but many of these tools, or all of these tools, is in the upskilling in terms of understanding how to use those tools for the best possible use case for what they can do, and then having the freedom and all the confidence to know how to combine it with other tools, because as we all know, there are so many, and there's more and more coming out every single day. I mean, Midjourney is definitely at the top of those in a lot of respects, as well as offshoots and alternatives like Stable Diffusion and so on. I think I agree, with the comment that it's like a shortcut and assistant to visualizing what you want in your mind. But I think for me, the most innovative and positive thing about it is that it's changing the way that you can perceive what you can do. And that's really empowering for people. So I think that's what we should all be leaning into. And I think I'd like to think that that's the reason why people will use these tools, because they are super powerful. And to quote, a few people have said it, but there aren't many limits anymore, and you are the only one. So we should all be polymaths, and I think we all learn so much from to prompt well. I think a big part of it is educating yourself and developing yourself in terms of your knowledge of things. and that's good for everybody. So yeah, more of that, please.
Yes, definitely. That is one of the best advantage. I know a lot of people which they are saying, "Hey, 1 year ago I could not draw, and look, I can unleash my creativity. What I have in my mind, I can right now. I have something which is beyond that limitation, not being able to draw, or think about people with disability as well. That's also it's another factor. People can express themselves better than they could do it before, and that's definitely one of the advantages, no doubt about it. We have also John. John, I like to hear your opinion as well. Remember, it's an unmute button on the bottom right, so in order for us to hear, you need to unmute the mic. Okay. So another thing regarding the prompts, until John is gonna unmute the mic. Yes, some other people they come and they say, "Hey, look, regarding the prompt, that is also a skill." In my opinion, yeah, it's a way of expressing. I'm not consider it my person. I don't consider it as a skill. I think it's more an experience, not necessarily as a skill, in the sense that in time after you do several prompts, you kind of see how the things needs to be done. I explained it before. On my side, they are good samples, which, for instance, Brian Syke is posting, and I'll post it in the comments so people can see. He always make an image and also is putting the prompt and explaining how the things goes. But from my side, I usually do, I call it structural prompt, in the sense that I will define first the subject. So mostly for the architectural, I'm using that. I really love the architectural output from Midjourney. So I'm saying, okay, I have a mid-modern house or minimalistic house or a cabin, whatever. So it's a structure which I want to see it. So that's the first thing. You define that. The second, you need to define the environment. You need to define where you want to have your particular subject. So I'm defining the background, and I always said, if you want really good output from Midjourney, use words which involves vegetation. Use the word forest, use the word botanical garden, or use the word even jungle if you want, but those usually they give you a really good output. The algorithm is very strong, especially on the latest versions, the 5.1 and even the other one, the Nishi, but the 5.1 is really strong with that. And the third part will be the mood or the style, if you want to call it, but I'm calling mood because that is where you define what exactly you want. And you can put over there stuff like volumetric light, you can put it in a certain let's say baroque or painting, or it's so much flexibility over there, but it's the mood which you want to have it in your image. And at the end, that will be the results. Of course, at the end, you put arguments like, okay, the aspect ratio, the quality. So aspect ratio is --AR, and you can have like 2:1 or 16:9, 9:16, and so on. You can put the quality, which is --Q. I'm using usually the Q2. That is in the mid range, but it's quite flexible. And also you can use other arguments like the S, that is 1 to 1000. If you use it toward the middle, you get good results as well. And the version, of course, there are so many versions. I guess people are using the latest mostly, which is V5.1 or V5. V4 also is very good. It's giving you a really rough outlook, especially if you want artistic brushes. For instance, if you use the word brush or brush stroke, that looks like a very, very strong nervous painting, and the results are always really good. So that's what I'm saying. Prompt itself, you get the skill, if you want to call it skill, but it's not really a skill. It's more on the experience side. And yes, that's usually what gives you good results. We have also another guest, Big Al. If you can unmute yourself so we can have your feedback.
Hi, gang. How are you? I just wanted to tell you about my experience talking about. I had an idea generated from. I had an idea for a picture of a large cave with bioluminescent stalactites and stalagmites, and so I, of course, went to Midjourney and generated the images, and that inspired a short story. And I just posted this short story a couple of minutes ago on LinkedIn, and it's called "The Cave Dwellers," and it's not only a short story about who might live in the cave, how could they survive, and who would discover them. It was also an exercise and experiment. So, yes, I'm generating most of the images using Midjourney. But I wanted there to be, near the entrance of the cave, I wanted there to be bats in the cave, and I wanted the ceiling to be covered with bats. All that Midjourney would give me was hanging blobs. And when I put folded wings and fruit bats in the prompts, it still wasn't good enough. And I thought, well, Adobe Firefly uses Adobe stock. They've got pictures of bats. And sure enough, I got a picture with several bats hanging on the ceiling. And then in Photoshop, I made a couple of layers and added more bats within the picture and was able to get that using Firefly. Then, 2 days ago, Photoshop Beta was introduced. And so I got that. And what I was able to do was really, I think, quite remarkable and quite quick using Photoshop Beta. When you are generating different pictures of 3 characters, which are the teens that find this cave, they come out looking a little different from where they were, even when you use a photo, an image for a prompt. And they've changed the color of the clothing and stuff. I was able to go into Photoshop Beta, and I was able to click a button that says delete background. So I silhouetted the people, and it did a very good job. I mean, it is producing a layer with the mask on, and then there were certain areas that were a little rough, and you could go back in, to that mask and adjust the mask as you want to, to do that. Then, by just roughly outlining parts of their coats, I could change the color of their coat. Selecting areas of their T-shirt, I could change the color of the T-shirt. I could change smiles on the faces, and I could. They weren't all great, but trying to be subtle smiles, it was producing better results. There was one scene from Midjourney where the kids are running out of the cave, and what I got from Midjourney was the backs of the kids. in Midjourney Blend, and I got the main characters, the two main characters, a father and a daughter that were cave dwellers, and it did a terrific job. I had to do a little bit of things in Photoshop, but very minor things, so this whole thing is like you're talking about, using all these different tools and using them, in such a way that just brings everything together. The first image in this story, I had an image of the teens that I was using as a video, a picture prompt, and they were in the cave, and so it wasn't giving me exactly the background I wanted. So in Photoshop Beta, I deleted the background, and then I circled the whole, selected the whole size of the picture, and I said to generate a new background, and I wanted it to be in the woods, and I wanted it to be golden hour, and it gave me 3 pictures as a separate layer, and then I wasn't happy with that, so I gave it a little more detail of being closer into the woods, and it gave me exactly what I wanted, and 2 other choices as well. Then I just color corrected the kids to match the lighting. It's truly amazing, and it's so terrific to just go from tool to tool to tool.
Yes, that's actually the power as well. Is look like what I'm seeing from my side is people start adapting different tools, and we switch toward, okay, the old ones, Word, for Photoshop, and let's say PowerPoint. Now it's gonna be an AI tool. It's gonna be Midjourney. It's gonna be Photoshop with the AI embedded. And actually, on the link below the meeting, on the comments, I posted a few things, because it's not only the image. The next trend will be videos. Everybody knows that. I mean, it's the next thing. You're gonna animate an image, and Brian had a good link for the in video, so I will suggest you guys to check on that. But basically, you can take an image and you can make a short video with that. Another thing which touched mostly on the 3D side, and I want to touch on that at least in the last 15 minutes, kind of. They are AI tools like OpenAI, for instance. They come with Shape-E, which is creating a 3D model. So basically you do a prompt, and even you can do some references from what I understand, and therefore you can create a 3D object. But it's a little bit tricky. I explained it before on the 3D side. The 3D itself is more complex. Could be a cloud point, could be like a small boxes points, which they give you a shape, like the Minecraft sort of. So that is what I could see it in Shape-E. But in the same time, if we want to not jump directly in the 3D, we have that 2.5D, and there are softwares like, as we just touched, Dragon. What Dragon is doing is kind of taking an image, and you could see that image, you can shift it left to right, so in real time. And probably you guys, you see the examples. Right now, I don't think that is live. I think there are only some publicity, but you could see, you take like a dog face, you move it left and right, and in real time, it's gonna kind of mimic the 3D. We know it's not the 3D, but it's feeling that information. So that's something really interesting. And just to finish with another tool, and after that we'll pass to new people which join us in the chat. So regarding AI, it's also another one which I recommend you guys to check it. It's the Codi. That is actually a tool which has got different kind of input. So you don't get limited to text, to image or video or 3D. Basically any kind of input. You have a video input, you're gonna have a text input, you want even a 3D image, and the export it's in the same way too. You can do whatever. So basically, it's covering the full spectrum. You get something whatever format you want, and the export is something which whatever you want, and between them you tweak the basically the prompt. Basically, you adjust what you want. And another really cool one which I saw, and it's kind of like 2D, and it's also related to the image which I have it in the presentation here. This panoramic. There is the Blockade Lab. What those guys are doing, basically, it's an environment. You just sketch, and based on that sketch, they will fill it up, the whole thing. So basically, in a 3D mesh, you make some sketches very roughly. Here is a window, here is a door, here is a wall, but really roughly, basically like a sketch, 3-4 lines, that's it. And automatically, based on the prompt, you're gonna fill it up. Okay, I have a sci-fi interior tunnel, and it's emergible. So basically, they already made that link toward Web 3D and immersive kind of stuff, and we can talk about that too. So, all right, Cameroon. Yeah, go ahead.
Amazing share. If you will let me, I will share one tool that I have discovered lately as well. I wanted to post about it. Everyone notices that right now it goes text to video. It's like the new future trend that will be going on. So I have found the tool which is called Oxolo. You can find it by typing in your browser studio.oxolo.com, and you can create the video from the text, or what is exciting, from the website link. So you are typing in the website link and it creates a video for you. You can create it for different platforms like YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook. You can change the aspect ratio. You can target the group, and you can put the language in which you want this video to be created. You can also pick the voice which will talk. The tool works like this. It will analyze your web page. It will extract some text, and then it will show the video presentation and the avatar which will speak. So you can pick the tone of voice. Would it be cheerful? Would it be hopeful? Would it be normal? You can pick, would it be male or female? It's very curious. Oxolo, if someone is looking how to create very fast some ad and reel and doesn't want to record himself, it's a super tool to try.
Yeah, thanks, Diana. And I will ask everybody, news like this, I think we should post it in the comments, because that's the easiest way how we can spread the news and people can see the possibilities over there, because everybody realizes there are so many tools, you can pick them, and you just need to pick the right tool for what you have in mind to have as a final product, because Midjourney is not the answer. Me personally, I don't think a tool should be a multi-tool. Usually, in general, they are specialized in a certain direction. Luckily, Midjourney is far more complex and it covers more. But yes, as you said, Diana, there are so many other things which people should know about because they are so powerful. Khairul, you are on, so we like to hear your feedback, and make sure you unmute. It's an unmute button at the bottom right. So you need to click on that microphone to unmute yourself first. And regarding other 3D tool, for instance, I kind of touch on that. Midjourney, it's got such a powerful output. Many times you think it's actually built in 3D, and obviously they are not. But there are ways to kind of transfer that information. You can do that manually, but I see a lot of tools coming which they will get that information. Manish, you are on. If you can all right, awesome.
Yes. As a complete, I've just joined this session today, and as a complete new professional learning about AI tools in a creative manner, I am finding this discussion very interesting, specifically because I'm into image design. Now, somebody spoke about using Midjourney for images. Is there a particular tool that we are using in AI that is for videos as well? Because I'm completely new to this, and it may sound a little, off the beat. But can somebody suggest any good AI tools for videos as well?
Yes.
I
Go ahead.
Sorry, Cindy.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Diana. Yes.
I was going to say you can try to use Runway Gen 1, Runway ML. I don't know if you know about it. I can put in the comments.
Yes, that'd be useful.
Yes. I don't know the one that Diana was talking about. I haven't tried it, but maybe it can help you some way. We will put that also in the comments. Then you have other ones to do animations like Leia Pix Converter. It's not for video, but for animation.
Right.
And you have the other one that Sandhu put there about the Brian Sykes
In video.
post. Yeah, but that one you have to be on the waiting list. So I wish you good luck.
All right. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
and the good news is actually, Midjourney just announced actually they will they will do the videos too. It's just a matter of time. I didn't see an official release date, but I know it's in their plans. They know that's the next step. That means it's logical. It should come. Mark also join us. Go ahead.
Sandhu, one more question. I come from a fashion background, and it seems that videos are doing quite well. Any one of you have used this for a fashion campaign or reels or any kind of video generation for social media?
I did use fashion stuff to create images. I was kind of not interested to do videos, but I know Midjourney can give you extremely high quality fashion, really creative stuff, which I made it with the prompt. But yeah, that could be transferred toward a short video. And also, if you want to do advertising, I do have some friends that told me, yeah, you can do an advertising with that easily. You got that data to start to do whatever you want. Diana?
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. I see Marco, you join us as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Marco.
Hey. How are you?
Good.
Hey, everyone. Fantastic talk. I mean, the amount of knowledge in this room is incredible. I made up a word recently, fonku, which is the fear of not keeping up. I think the saying
That's a good one.
is really crazy. A lot of fonku. But I wanted to bring a topic of conversation that is about censorship. And just to give you a little example of where I'm coming from is, I don't know if anyone who has Photoshop has ever tried to do a scan of a dollar bill or of any money, right? If you've tried, you'll find that Photoshop doesn't allow you. It has some built-in filters that I was doing once a voucher for one of my kids, the birthday. I was going to put their face in the dollar bill, and it wouldn't let me. So that's the first time that I thought, oh, okay, so I am not the master of my domain. Someone else is having a decision of what I can do with my software. And the same thing happens here with Midjourney, because it's a public company. We are using their platform, which is great in many ways, but as you know, it has limitations, and they decide what limitations those are. So if we're going to start adopting all these tools, and we're looking at them being like an alternative or on the same level as Photoshop and all the Adobe suite and so on, the question would be, are we okay with Adobe, for example, deciding how short a skirt should be in our images, or what body type would be okay to use in our images? So having that sort of control over our output, I find quite difficult to really go along with. Obviously, Stable Diffusion allows you to do whatever you want because it's installed on your computer. But for the tools that are going to become available for subscription models, then that is going to be an issue. I'm really curious to see what you guys think, and if you've encountered any of those examples, money or I think, for example, some buildings are actually copyrighted. In theory, you can't take photos of them. So would it be that as an architect trying to use AI, you can't do it because the machine is going to say, no, sorry, you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, good point. Excellent point, actually. But there are few things on the regulatory stuff. Some of those things, you know, like in Midjourney, yes, there are some banned words. You cannot put words like blood or stuff like that, you know, like, but from what I understand, they're actually tied to some regulatory bodies, which, you know, they protect the public. So that's the reason probably you cannot scan a dollar bill because, you know, that involves some stuff related to the different, you know, regulations. That's what I'm trying to say. Regarding if you can have a skirt, that probably is not the case, but I think is the case where artists are coming there. You know, everybody knows that there are a lot of very, very sensitive subjects regarding what Midjourney is doing and related to their references. They do have this, you know, class action and stuff like that. And I'm really curious how that will be solved. But in general, the points what those people they have, let's say, you call it censorship, but I think it's more like safety protection, which they kind of feel they have to have it. And that's the reason why I think it's like that. Me personally, I think it's coming from something like that. I see other people join us. Let's ask Kairul, did you succeed to unmute yourself? We'd like to hear your feedback. And also, Muhammad, if you want to give us your feedback. And of course, Marco, I just respond to you. Of course, feel free to have your feedback too, of course. Guys, just remember to unmute. Is that unmute button or the bottom right?
Yeah, I'll just say thank you and leave others to say. But I think it's a topic that we need to keep an eye on because there are some regulations for sure, but also the idea that someone else is controlling what we do on our own Photoshops is
not right. I will say it for you. It's not right. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
From a fashion perspective, I think Marcos has raised a very good point, how short the skirt length should be and what body type should it go on. It brings the whole body positive, scenario into the picture. But what it can also do is these AI tools will help a lot of product, like you can see the product on different body types and the length is for say. I think it can have both positive impact and a negative impact, but it definitely does diversify the options. But as a creator, I think it will be down to your personal choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to jump in there. I am all for diversity. What I am raising the alarm, I guess, or the voice, is that in Midjourney, it's very difficult to define body types because it bans the words that allow you to define the body types, right? Also for clothing, it bans the words that you're trying to use to create body type. The word petite is banned, right?
Yes.
Right. And I'm not talking about any unholy use of the word. I'm just saying if somebody is a petite person, apparently you can't have them because you cannot use the word. So that's the problem that I have.
Yeah. As a side note, Midjourney, it's multi-language software, and actually I'm being told some people there are words banned in one language and they are not on other languages, so that could be kind of a bypass. Of course, you can try it. I didn't, but I heard that, so it's something
I
interesting.
have tried, Sander. That's true.
Yes, okay. Okay.
That's true. I'm speaking for languages. I tried all of them, and that's true. The English is the most powerful.
Yeah. So that will be regarding the body type and in general in prompts. I noticed that you can reference something which is close to that. So you can make, obviously the easiest is to use image reference and stuff like that. You can do that. But regarding the prompts, the prompt is not always exactly with the word. And a lot of people probably notice you put a prompt, and if it's a long prompt, whatever you put toward the end, it's not coming in the prompt. And that is because the first part is actually the most heavy in the representation. But in the same time, you can use something which is in that domain. For example, I'm not using the artist names, but if you use the word comics, for instance, a lot of Möbius art is going to come in. So you don't need to use an artist name. As an example, give you. So in that particular case which you made, if you can come with something closer to what you like, either you can use other languages descriptions, or you can have a reference in their context. If you find something which is related to Petit and put that in the prompt, not using the Petit word, that will be some ways around. Go ahead.
I had a problem with something like this. The word was peanut. I didn't have a translation to Portuguese because it's like peanut, it's universal. But then I tried to use in pin and then up, separated, and it worked. But before that, I was banned from Midjourney for 5 minutes. It was my first. Because I entered the same prompt twice. I thought I changed the word, and I didn't. And that got me thinking about all this process. And now with Marco's